Technical issues. Hello, everybody. How's the mic? It's redlining for me, but just barely. So I think we should be good. Sneaking a peek ahead. And let's just go full cam. So, welcome back, everybody. Me too. It's been interesting to say the very least. Yeah. Sound us good? Hey, Mitch. See, who all is present and accounted for? Neon, Adam, Andrew, Dark Arts with a new name, Gobi Hendrix, good to see ya. K Bell with a new name as well. Storm Songs. Oh, is YouTube doing a funky name thing where it shows like the long name instead of the normal name? Yeah, probably. It's been an interesting month and a half coming home to all sorts of stuff going on. First and foremost, my mom, while I was in Ukraine, my mom fell out of bed and decided that I did not need to know until I got back, and then still took 2 weeks to tell me when I was back. Basically, she hurt her back and her hip, so that's been an ongoing thing. When I first got back, my truck wasn't running. Her car wasn't running, and 2 of my tractors were not running. So I've been obviously getting my truck running, getting her car running, working on my tractor, rebuilding the carburetor for the tractor. The other tractor, my little Ford, I'm going to have to do some major work on because I don't know what's going on there, but the engine's not moving. Big paperweight at the moment. A lot of headaches like that. My silly butt decided I was in good shape. I need to keep getting in shape, and tried to do sit-ups. That's a funny one because I herniated my belly button doing sit-ups. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. So we finally have winter here in South Dakota. You know, we've been in the mid 60s to 70s throughout December. So I was trying to get all like projects done that I can get done when it was warm. Been busy planting, chicken coop. I showed you guys the hen box, netting over the chicken coop. And while this kind of relates to the chickens, is I ordered some seeds that need to be overwintered outside before they will germinate. The plant is called Siberian pea shrub. So I got those in the other day. Oh, turn the intro off. Sorry. Basically, let's go up to the top here. It basically forms a nice little hedgerow. So it's a windbreak. It's a nitrogen fixer. So that will help the other plants in the garden. And they call it a pea shrub, but it looks, and I'm told tastes more like green beans. When they're green like this, they dry out and then turn this like dark brown. And basically you can pick them like that, throw them in a bucket out in the sun, put a blanket over it, and the little beans inside will pop out, and you can use it for chicken feed. So I get a windbreak, I get a nitrogen fixer for my garden, and I get feed for the chickens. So that's what I'm going to be planting today. Not to mention flowers for the bees. Honey, nectar, and pollen for the bees. So it'll be a nice addition to the farm. It is a noxious weed in Minnesota for some reason. Don't know. Don't care. Which brands of tractors? I have a Ford 8N. And let me go back to full cam. I have a Ford 8N from 1948. And I have a 58 JI Case 580 or 570. Sorry, 570. Of course, I got the computer somewhat set up. So, there's my screen. The computer used to be facing that wall, and now I got this wall behind me. And of course, my ever favorite Ukrainian bunny and cat. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to set the camera up, and I don't know, I'm liking it right here because I'm looking at chat and looking at the camera. Usually, sometimes Fish Florida is feeling rowdy. Okay. A little loud. Okay, I'll knock it down a hair here. Testing. No, it's still too loud. Still redlining. How about, it's still redlining. Okay, let's try that one. How's that sound for you, Adam? So, I got my little seed packet in yesterday. So, before you think that, you could, a lot of people are sitting there looking at these as a food source. The prepper community is going a little bit wild on them. You can have them for food and blah, 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 blah. But let me show you the size of these seeds. Those are tiny. You would have to harvest from a ton of plants to get anything edible for humans. besides like a garnish maybe. Well, I was redlining on OBS, so now I'm just barely not redlining. So I think it was. I've never planted tobacco, so I wouldn't know the tobacco. But yeah, it's smaller than a hemp seed. I'll tell you that. Don't ask why I know that one. So, Jiffy, come on, sponsor me. It'd be nice. So I got 3 packages of seeds pots. Why? Because, well, there's only supposed to be 50 seeds. There's actually 96 seeds. So, still going to have to do a little bit of double planting because there's only, well, 22 in a case here. So, 66. Well, I should be able to plant a few. Basically, gonna do what we can. And hopefully have a feed supply for chickens in the future. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the best part of the new setup. See this right here? This. Barely see it because of the light, but oh well. Have cold drinks. Oh, come on. Let's get this opened up. So, yeah, I know there's a bunch of cheaper ways to start seeds. I like using these things. Mainly because you just plant the whole pot and it just disintegrates into the ground. So you don't have to pull the plant out. You don't have to risk hurting the roots when you go to plant or anything like that. You just dig it out, plant the pot, and you're done. Now, sometimes there's issues like this where they got wet and they're stuck together. Oh, that was hard. Oh. Minus 13 for you. Oh, I forgot to even look what it was. And I hear the monster coming up the stairs. We're at 0 right now. So, 0 and snowing with a real feel of -2. So, Kiev, -13 Celsius, real feel -16. Of course, Celsius 0, so we're right at 32 with a real feel of -2. And snow, we got a nice snowstorm that's been blowing through most of the day. I'm right down in here. I'm going through all this already and a little bit more to go through. So, yeah, usually, like, for the last 4 years, Kiev has been warmer than me. This is one of the few years where I've been unseasonably warm here in South Dakota, and it's been freaking cold in Kiev. So, and of course, Russia's using that to their advantage and attacking civilian heating. Hold on one second. Oh man, a lot of these things are stuck together. Um, and not with Trump's borrowed dick, Adam. Sorry, but so there's one packet, and that takes up pretty much my whole desk. Let me angle this down a little more. Looks like I'm getting ready to play Bing beer pong. Snizzers. No snizzers. Leatherman, always a good tool. Gee, I hope I don't get dirt all over my computer. Normally, yes. It is way too early to plant normal seeds. But these need to be cold stratified. So the simplest way to do that is to plant them in the pots you're going to grow them in and set them outside. Otherwise you have to sit there and like dampen a towel, soak them for 24 hours, soak the seeds for 24 hours, put a wet paper towel in the seeds in a Ziploc bag, and then plant them and hope they germinate after that. This isn't quite direct sowing, but I'm going to plant the seeds in this and literally just set them outside. Let Mother Nature do as intended. And, well, it's always an issue with plants that need cold stratification. It's a kind of a pain in the butt. I did my first cold stratification last year with blue cypress, or not cypress, spruce, blue spruce. And literally 5 out of 50 seeds germinated. So I didn't do too hot. Well, I figured I'd try it this way and just plant and set them outside and let Mother Nature do what Mother Nature does. And then once the seedlings go and I know which ones are good, I can plant them where I want them. And yeah, I am getting dirt all over my desk, so I'll have to do some cleanup later. Not as crazy as you think, because a lot of flowers and such um, will not bloom the next year unless they get frost hours. Kind of like apples. You can plant an apple tree anywhere, but if you don't get enough below freezing hours, it won't flower the next year, which means no apples next year. Good thing I have a big mouse pad to gather up all most of this dirt for me. So I can just pick up the mouse pad and pour the dirt back in the bag for later. Hey there, Steve saying no such thing as late. So now I get this first set done. Then I'll go into some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about and share with you. Of course, well, the angle's wrong for to show the wall, but now that I have a new desk set up, I have a blank wall behind me. So I need to start putting stuff on that wall for the stream. Of course, I have a Cars for Ukraine flag that's going to go up, and we'll have to see about some of the other stuff. That one definitely overfilled. Let's tamp some of this down. You don't want to hard compact it, but you don't want it so loose that the seed gets lost in there. Okay, I got one that's over full and one that's under full. So that will work. And funny enough, one of the best things for planting, and I don't have it at my desk right now. That's funny. Hold on one second. One of your best tools for planting is a simple pencil. And you just I'll put that down again. I'm just eyeballing the depth. Supposed to plant these like a 1/4 inch deep. So I'm going right to the end of the sharpened area. Oh, this one didn't get back down. So, just a little divot. There we go. There's a good in the middle. Oh, you have a green pepper growing in your windowsill? Um, yeah, my windowsill's not big enough to grow my stuff that I grow early. Um, that's why I have a greenhouse. Oh, drop a seed, drop a seed. And of course, if none of these germinate, or some of these germinate and some don't, the ones that don't, you just reuse the pot and plant something else. Looks like I was about 5 seeds short. And that's the first 22 done. Now you might be asking why I'm planting almost 60, well, 67, 66 plants. These things, they run about $3-4. Let's see, get this to 22 peat pots. And it's like $3.79 or something like that. I'm sure Walmart has them cheaper. I paid $3.79 for these ones, and I think that was at Runnings. Baumgars has them for like $4.79, and Walmart has them for like $3.69 or some $3.59 or something like that. Not very expensive. Yeah. And like I said, I like these the best because they're not plastic. And when you go to plant them, you just dig the hole, put the pot in, and it's right where you want it. You don't have to pull it out and mess up roots. And these things will dissolve in soil. So clean up a little bit of the dirt I spilled. Not really dirt, it's peat. Moss. I should have brought in another table.
Oh, that's not a good idea. Let me go grab another table really quick. Let's go back to scene. So, uh, let's see, videos. Uh, a bunch of people out there talking about it, and uh, but yeah, this is what I'm planning. And oh, come on, give you an idea of the flowers and stuff. Well, you look at that while I go grab a table to put these on. Bye. Let's see. Is anybody else? Salt of the Red Earth. Uh, welcome. No, sorry for the quiet. I just can't think of anything to talk about while I'm moving plants. What I'll eventually do is put these on trays, and these will go out into um, outside my greenhouse. And oh boy, I spilled a lot of dirt that I didn't expect to. And they will cold stratify in the pot they're growing in. So saves a lot of headache and miscalculation on times and temperatures. Um, yeah. So let's go back to full cam. Yeah. So yeah, I'm. Uh, yeah, Siberian pea tree is another name for it. The pea shrub. Um, yeah, it's hardy down to zone 2. Um, the plants from like northern Mongolia, Siberia area, and really cold hardy. I need that for here. Acts as a windbreak. Um, is a nitrogen fixer, so it will put nitrogen into the soil, and it provides a crop of sorts. Um, I'm looking at it as chicken feed. Um, when they're green, like in this here, let me switch back over. When they're green like this, you can eat them like green beans. Um, when they start turning this like reddish brown, um, there's a toxin that builds up in them that you have to soak them for 24 hours before you can eat them. Or, like I said, I'm just going to let them dry out from that and use it as a supplement to my chicken feed. No, God, no, not an Andrew. Oh, can you imagine 66 Andrews popping up in spring? Hmm. I get it now. Neon, Siberian pea shrubs are ruggedly adaptable and fit for challenging sites. Their durability, easy growth, and hardiness make them a contender for spots where other plants may not thrive. Yeah. This is basically going to be the edge of my zone creation. Around the garden, basically. You can create microclimates in your garden to be able to grow stuff that normally you wouldn't be able to. The hardest thing for that up here, where I'm at, is dealing with the wind. So you need a windbreak. And, I was obviously looking at other things for windbreaks. Hedgerows, spruce trees that didn't work last year, all sorts of things. And this popped up on my radar while I was in Ukraine. A friend suggested it to me. I was like, So I did some research, and yeah. It's going to work. I think it's going to work great for me as long as they come up. Obviously, windbreak fixes nitrogen. It has a crop that's edible for humans at certain times of year, edible for chickens, and should make a really good edible hedgerow. Yeah, it's like in this picture, or yeah, again, I'm not showing pictures. I have to switch back. It's the windbreak there. It can get up to 6 feet tall and like up to 8 feet wide. So it makes a really good windbreak. And of course, edible pea pods. Nice bright yellow flowers. So in the spring, get that. I got my bees. I got bees coming in the spring, so they will enjoy these flowers. And chicken, yeah, bees get to enjoy the flowers. I can try out a couple of the beans when they're green, and then the chickens get the seeds. So, yeah, I think it'll be a nice addition. Yes, that's mainly what they were grown for in Ukraine, as a windbreak and fodder for the chickens. Um, the other thing that's going to be nice for me is if these things take off, I'm hoping they do, is that in the rabbits will eat the bark and the stems on it. So as long as I can get them established before putting them outside, they will hopefully keep the rabbits away from other plants like my raspberries that they seem to kill off every winter, or the fruit trees they like to eat the bark on. So hopefully this will do that as well. Take care of the rabbits. So yeah, it's more than just a hedgerow. It's more than just a pea crop. It's more than just chicken feed. It also fixes nitrogen and is a sacrifice to the bunnies that have been eating my raspberries. So multiple uses out of one crop, one plant. I think it's going to be a good fit for me. Okay, I'm not going to do as big of a stack in one go. Let's do a stack at a time. Or should we move on to some of the other stuff? Let's move on to some of the other stuff because I want to show you guys some of this. Yeah, I came back and had a nice package in the mail. So my Cars for Ukraine flag showed up. So that's going to go on the wall behind me. As soon as I can find where I put my thumbtacks. And some stuff I brought home from Ukraine. One, I met a lady there. Her name is Darina. She's doing design, like jewelry design, stuff like this. And this is a bag from her. She did the design on the front. Personal design. If you go back into some of the shorts and stuff, there's a link to her Etsy page if you want to check out some of her jewelry. And you got to make sure somebody's not in chat to see that. I should have mailed these out already, but I'm a bum. So, guys, and then the gals. Or is it the other way around? So, somebody asked for Vishovankas. They said her husband's favorite color was green. So I got him a green one and her a matching one. So I'll get those mailed out to her probably tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. I can find the address. But anyways, that's that. But this is what I really wanted to show off. Is Darina works with displaced children in Kherson area. And one of the things the kids made to help support the army was kind of a Mojenka, or I'm not saying it right, Modenka doll. So they made these. So, and just different Ukrainian pattern ribbons on the front of them. So those were cool, but they also made these. I'll give you guys a better look at it here in a second. Let's see which way. So it's a beaded bracelet. And then tie. Or actually, it should have been this way. So I got a few of those, and I will be auctioning some of these off to raise funds for projects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 of those ones. He also made a couple different keychains. And again, these were all made by Ukrainian children that were displaced from Kherson area. So the black and red, and of course the blue and yellow. And there's been a couple big supporters that helped me out, and okay, I got to do this. Hola, ¿qué pasó? Hola. I guess they didn't want to talk Spanish. Gotta love telemarketers. So I only have 2 of the black ones. I have 4 of the blue and yellow. And then 5 of the solid blue with the yellow trident. I could have swore I had more, but I'm not sure. Let me look in the bag. Nope. Nothing in the Medenkas. Nope. So I'm gonna have to get with Cars for Ukraine and see what we can do, and get the next fundraiser going. Because remember, trucks on the front line are unfortunately disposable. I shouldn't say disposable, but expendable. And unfortunately, they're losing a lot of them. Thankfully, the guys are walking away from it, but YouTube's seen fit to put this little people symbol right in the middle of chat, so it's like the last person that chatted, I cannot see who it is until somebody else chats. Mr. Squiggle says, Earthwall, surrounded garden with glass roof like a greenhouse. Works good for cold climate. Yeah, it would actually burn my plants in the winter. I need something where I can open up the sides to let the heat out in the summer. It's crazy how our weather here is. It depends on. Nian says, that's smart. I have my phone turned off most of the time, but I should answer in Spanish. I'll answer in Spanish, or I tried Ukrainian. I'm not good enough in Ukrainian yet to hold a conversation, but it's funny sometimes. Hey there, blonde bombsheller. Would Chungus Canty or bugger him this time? Okay, I'm confused, Steve. What do you mean? BB's running a Cars for Ukraine fundraiser right now. Okay, well, throw it in chat. I'll send some people that way if they have some spare cash. You only need to know 2 phrases in Spanish to be able to answer the phone in Spanish for telemarketers. Hola, ¿qué pasó? Hello, how are you? And when they ask if you speak English, no habla inglés, se habla español. And usually you get hung up on after that. So, but yeah, again, these will be let's see if I can get all these in one showing. So those are the 3 keychains I got. And again, made by displaced children from Kherson. So BB's threw the link for Cars for Ukraine in chat. So if you are able, please go and donate. We'll check it out in a minute. Yeah. And of course, the bracelets. Oh, and don't forget the Modenka dolls they made. They're really cool. So yeah, I'll have to work on something because with donating to Cars for Ukraine, I don't get your address, so I'll have to work something out with them to like mail them, or I don't know. I'll have to talk to Cars for Ukraine and see what they say. If not, we'll work on it for something else. Yeah, let's do another batch of planting since I'm no sé dónde está. You don't understand? You have to remember, I spent like my early childhood in Buffalo, right across the way from Quebec, basically. So I picked up a little bit of Quebecan French, which is nothing like real French. Okay, barely like real French. For my later teenage years, I was in Arizona, which is where the Spanish comes from. So I don't really speak Spanish. I speak street lingo, Mexican. Okay, 11. Yeah. Sorry, my brain was going off like, why is there only... So, yeah, Jiffy. If you want to sponsor a gardening stream, let me know. Yeah, about the only phrase I really remember from French class when I was a kid is mon crayon est large. I can't even remember the second half of that because they taught us in school to say my pencil is big and yellow, and I forgot the yellow part. Oop, too much in that one. Oh, back it down. Language is such a weird thing. If you don't use it, you forget it. Not like riding a bicycle. You learn to ride a bicycle once and you never have to learn how to do it again. You could not ride a bicycle for 20 years and hop back on and know how it works. But language, you don't use it for a year and you'll forget more of it than you learn in a year. Um, I don't mind gardening. Love to watch Jeb Gardner and desert reclamations and some farming. Yeah, I really like the restorative agriculture stuff. Um, I know it's going to be needed a lot in Ukraine after the war. Um, but like, there's been big projects all over the world, from China, the Loose Plateau, regreening of that, um, couple mountains in Ethiopia and other places in Africa. The Great Green Wall is an amazing project. Um, well, you have to remember that, like, a lot of landscapes in Ukraine are pretty much gone. Um, the forest north of Kharkiv, there's barely a tree left. There's people trying to replant trees even as the war is ongoing. But yeah, because of all the shelling and everything, there's like an entire forest north of Kharkiv has disappeared. Um, yeah, so it's there's going to be a lot of reforestation, um, rewilding of wetlands, stuff like that, because like Mother Nature has been hit hard, almost as hard as Ukrainians in this war. Yeah, it's kind of weird ways to say that, but um, it's going to be years for Ukraine to recover from all the ecological damage that's been done between dams getting taken out down, not just in Kherson area, but other places as well. Dams have been destroyed, and the washout from those. Not only going to have to build dams and water storage, basically, but they're gonna have to replant everything around it and basically rebuild entire mass ecosystems. Well, the fiber optics should be fairly easy. Um, you know, I'm basically, what the image in my mind is, like a giant blender in front of a scooter, and you just drive through the field, and they end up with a ball. So yeah, even just having gardening skills or tree planting skills or tree growing skills, I should say, it's all going to be needed in Ukraine after the war. And unfortunately, the way the economy is looking, Ukraine's going to be very hard up for outside help. unfortunately. Oh, that would work too. Modify a ground baler to gather up all the fiber optics. Yeah, fiber optic is glass essentially, so it should be recyclable fairly easy. But the collection and actually doing it's going to be the hard part. But yeah, it's going to be people doing stuff like I'm doing right here, planting seeds, growing them, and then transplanting them where they're needed. Is going to be the hardest part. In my opinion. Because I don't care how motivated you are, there's almost no money in gardening. In um, farmers, they make about $100 an acre. That's why you see like the old family farms of this 120 acres, they're dying out. They don't exist anymore. You need 400 to 1,000 acres minimum to make a living as a farmer. I say 400 because you can do 400 acres on with like owned equipment and make a decent living. But as soon as your equipment breaks down and is not repairable, you're not going to be able to afford to farm anymore. That way, make a pyramid of plants. Okay, I can't put them where there's only three other pots because it isn't stable. So yeah, there's my halfway point. Half the seeds have been planted. No, what these are is Siberian pea shrubs. It's basically going to act as a wind snow break for my property, and is going to it produces peas, like a pea-like pod. You can eat like green beans when they're green, or they're kind of like pinto beans when they're dry. Before you cook them, you have to soak them for 24 hours and then drain the water off, type of thing. But they can also be used for chicken feed. Rabbits like the bark on them. And they fix nitrogen, so they're a multiple uses for me. I get a windbreak, edible crop for part-time. I get chicken feed. I get a nitrogen fixer for my garden. And I get a sacrificial plant for the rabbits so they don't eat my raspberries and fruit trees. They're not cardboard. They're what the heck are they? Peat. They're basically pressed peat, so I don't have to take the seedlings out of the pot to plant it. I can plant the whole thing. And you know, biodegradable, no plastics, or less plastic to deal with, I should say. Got to cut down the footprint. Can't eliminate it, but you can cut it down. But I think these are just better for the plants because, like, if you get the plastic trays and start your seeds in those little plastic trays, when it's time to replant them, you have to pull the plant out of the plastic trays to replant them. These you just throw in the ground, keep going. Ooh. And there's another group out there that's doing basically the same potting plants, but they're doing it with cow dung. They're basically molding cow dung into these potted plants, and then another situation where you can plant the whole pot. And when it's dry, it's inert. So, and you're not only planting, but you're also fertilizing at the same time. A little early, and they're kind of pricey at the moment still. So the peat pots are my way to go. Now, essentially, it's just thick paper. Think like a couple layers of construction paper. So the roots will eventually grow through it if it doesn't completely break down in the soil. And let's face it, how many times have you tried to save plastic containers that plants have came in for next spring, and you'll plant them in there, and when you go to planting them, they're all broken and you just end up throwing them out anyway. Plastic does okay in the winter, but if you don't store them during the heat, the hot time, that plastic breaks down pretty quick. And then you're looking at microplastics. Yay! Now, the other thing I really liked about this plant is it's kind of like you plant it and forget it. If I never harvest a pea pod off of these, and it just gives me a windbreak, I'm happy. There's a lot of times you get like 70-mile-an-hour winds here, so having something to break up the wind alone is good. The fact that it does all this other stuff, provides nitrogen as a source of feed for humans and chickens, is just bonus. Plastic ones? Yeah, that surprises me, Adam. Wait, you're in Buffalo, so yeah, you don't really get heat there like, well, we get here. last year we had probably 35, 40 days over 90 degrees. So yeah, that heat will mess up plastic just as much as cold does. Mm, okay, I don't think we're talking about the same thing. Like I know paper that's thicker than the plastic we get for with our plants. Yeah, I'm talking about the plastic seed kits, and those things are not very structural. You will put too much water in them, and they'll freaking crack apart. Hey there, Matt. Where were you? Uh, Everywhere but online, apparently. Between fixing my truck, uh, spending a week rebuilding the carburetor on the tractor. Not that I spent an entire week rebuilding it. I rebuilt it. It didn't work, so I had to rebuild it again. Yeah, that was fun. Uh, yeah, it's basically burning the candle at both ends is what I've basically been doing. Um, like to the point that normally when I sit down and relax, and if I'm not doing something like this, I'd be asleep right now if I wasn't doing this. Like literally just I tried to watch the Patriots game on Sunday. I think 5 minutes into play and I was passed out and don't remember the rest of the game. So hopefully next Sunday I can watch the game and actually say I've been able to watch one football game this year. I got one of them going. The other one's going to take a little more work than I'm able to do. And well, it's gotten cold. So, like, no more working outside. Um, we were in the 50s to 60s last week. And then this week we're well below freezing. Um, so yeah, we finally got our winter. I've run out of cable. All the zip ties from making sure my cables are not all over the place. And on to the last package. Oh, they did win? Show the name of the seeds to the camera? Okay. Come on. Okay, it helps if I hold my hand steady. Sow in fall or spring, quarter-inch deep into well-draining soil. If sowing in spring after last frost, soak seeds in water and keep them in the fridge 24 to 48 hours before sowing. Allow soil to dry in between waterings. Germination up to 60 days. I'm doing the split between that. And basically these pots are going to go into a tub and go out into like the cold part of my greenhouse, the part that's not the greenhouse, and cold set for the next 20 to 30 days. I'm going to bring them in, water them, and see what happens. I could... Mitch, that was very punny of you. But yeah, I ordered a package of 50 seeds, figuring I'd get half that germinated. They sent me like almost 100 seeds in a 50 seed package. So, yeah, can't complain about that. And yes, I'm getting dirt all over my new desk setup that I just set up. That was all nice and clean, and oh well, life happens. So yeah, I'm planning a little more than I planned on. But if it doesn't matter if they germinate or not, I have places to plant them that I want snow bricks. So I may end up with more peas and more chicken feed than I wanted or what I was planning on. But you can never have too many windbreaks. Like literally, I have almost 1,000 feet of fence line that I could put a windbreak on. Hey, Andy. So yeah, just one more project I'm trying to get out of the way. And hopefully they germinate. You know, if I get 10 that germinate and work out, great. That's 10 of them. So I'll propagate from there, because you can take you can root cuttings from this fairly simply. You just put a rock on it and push it onto the ground, and it will root there, and then you just snip it and transplant. So yeah, pretty easy propagation on these once they're established. And the next town over has there's one house that has like 4 plants that they use as a windbreak for their back door. Of course, I didn't know this until after I was looking for seeds, and they basically trimmed off all the seeds and mowed them with their lawnmower. So I wasn't going to keep hunting for seeds around there. Hey, Nikki, good to see you. DK, do you work? No, it gets too cold for the greenhouse, even in the winter. Um, the cost of heating the greenhouse here would just be defeats the purpose. Maybe if lettuce got up to back up to $5 a head of lettuce, it'd be worth it. But right now, at $2 a head of lettuce, it's just not cost effective to heat a greenhouse where I'm at. Like last night was minus 18 Fahrenheit. It cooling the greenhouse in the summer is a lot easier than heating it in the winter. Cool it in the summer, all you have to do is open one of the walls, and well, 2 of the walls, and get a wind going through. Not so easy in the winter. The only way I would have a working greenhouse in the winter is if I did a geothermal setup, and dug 12 feet, a ditch 12 feet down, like 150 feet long, and ran some ventilation piping through it and got my heat that way. So all it cost me is the cost of running a fan. But in Armour, there's a greenhouse, and they literally go through, I think she told me, 400 pounds of propane a winter to heat the greenhouse. Granted, their greenhouse is much bigger than mine. Yeah, I might run out of soil before I run out of pot. Darpat, it's called the Siberian pea shrub. And this. So, cold hardy down to zone 2. Low moderate. It needs to be stratified for the winter. So that's why I'm planting them now. Okay, you're supposed to plant them in the ground in fall, or do this whole hubba-blub of soaking them, putting them in the refrigerator, putting them in the freezer, what have you. And I'm kind of skipping that and acting like I directly sowed them in the ground in these pots. Because basically, once these pots are all planted, they're going into the entryway for my greenhouse. And they'll get the rain, snow, what have you, cold, and it would be just like I planted them in the fall. A lot better than trying to do all the, let's see, soak them for 24 to 48 hours, then throw them in the fridge for 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. I'm just going to act like I planted these in the fall and treat them that way and see what happens. I'm planting 66 of these pots, so even if I get a 10% take, which would be 6 of them, that will be enough to start out with. I don't remember if I got that one or not. No, that one. So extra seed in those maybe. Not like they didn't send me a whole bunch extra. I ordered 50 seeds and it got close to 100, so I have extra. So there's a couple other things you can plant in the winter like this. Well, more than a couple, but pretty much anything that needs to be cold stratified, you can do this with. I actually recommend doing this with, because doing the water soak and then the refrigerator or the freezer, and you forget about it, you get busy, or leftover spilled on my seeds and ruined the seed. Yeah. It just makes it easier to be able to plant them, just set them outside and let nature work how nature intended. I'm not going to ask how you know that, Steve. They have like 2 or 3 overhead propane heaters that propane's piped in from outside, and they heat the whole thing. I mean, it's a big greenhouse, but still. You're talking it's dollar. It's like $2.50 a pound for propane, or something like that. Last I checked. So they're looking at probably $1,100 a winter to heat their greenhouse. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting it for, is chicken feed. This is basically going to be a supplement for chicken feed. And I think I'm going to have to order a new mouse pad after this. Yes, these are edible. Um, you eat them like green beans. Um, I've seen people talk about like drying the beans and then cooking them later, and it is doable. But if you saw the sides of these beans, you'd laugh. So to make you laugh, before I plant these next ones, I'll show you the size of the seed. Uh, so there we go. And literally tiny, tiny freaking seeds. It's an old one anyways, and I need to replace it anyways, so I'm not overly concerned. But yeah, I'll give it a good a washing. Well, I don't know if I have enough to do the last bit, but we'll see. We'll see how far I can go. And there's some more for the mouse pad. Yeah, that's a, okay. One of the things, well, the things that got me interested in this plant is yes, it is used as a windbreak and does very well as a windbreak. They grow 6 feet tall and about 8 to 10 feet in diameter. So a single plant does a nice wide area, and they're nice and thick, like almost like lilacs when they're full grown. Um, they produce each plant produces about 20 pounds of pods per season. Um, that's a heck of a lot of green beans. So yeah, when they produce the beans, the pods, well, I'll do a tasting on them. But like harvesting's really easy. When you want just the beans for chicken seed, you literally just pick the pods when they turn brown. You throw them in a bucket, throw a rag or a towel over it, and leave it out in the heat, and the pods start popping open, and then you just separate the seeds from the pods. And there's your chicken feed. They're a nitrogen fixer because they are a lagoon. Bleh. They're a bean, so they fix nitrogen in the soil. So they help feed other plants. Rabbits will eat the younger shoots as well as the bark in the winter off of these. So they're a sacrifice for the uh, the rabbits. Hopefully they'll leave my raspberries alone and I can grow raspberries again. Well, that's it for the Jiffy seed starting mix. So Jiffy, if anybody from Jiffy sees this and wants to sponsor, $20. Look at all the free advertising I just gave you. So I missed 3 pots. So 63 pots out of 1 bag. Not bad. Stack that down a little bit. And I'm going to put this one off to the side. And yes, I am just using a pencil to make my holes for the seeds. Oh, Rabbit's got your grapes. Yeah, they've been, like, every time I planted raspberries, you know, I used to have a beautiful batch of golden raspberries. And then the goats broke the fence and ate them all. And I've been trying to replant them and get them going again at about $10 a plant, 8 plants each time. In the last 4 years, the rabbits have eaten them. So I'm hoping with these, I'll actually be able to get raspberries this year and let the rabbits, and hopefully the rabbits will eat this stuff instead of my raspberries. And I got about 15 seeds left over out of a 50 pack after planting 63 pots. 62 pots. I forgot to put that one to the side. Put it to the side for the very good reason. And I'll show you that reason right now. Stay. Ooh, yeah, very, very dirty. No, there's the monster coming to attack me again. Hi, Sonia. No, you don't. Okay, I got more soil. Hey, take the monster with you.
Tanya, come on. Tanya. Come on.
What were you worried about, Salt? Oh, what they were doing for me in the end was they were eating the bark around the bottom of my fruit trees, and basically in the spring when the raspberries were just starting to come up, they'd eat the raspberries right down and kill off the raspberries. So, like, out of 20 some plants, I have 2 raspberries that are alive. Not enough to actually get a harvest off of, but Mm. Old stuff, new stuff. The old stuff is actually my own creation. It's compost, potting soil, and peat all mixed together. So you'll see stuff like wood chips. I'm going to laugh if these ones do the best, because my little homemade mix doing better than the commercial brand. That's why you need to sponsor me, Jiffy. That up away. And the last four. And 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, 3, and 4. Oy. Let's angle this up a little bit. So, that's done. That's one more chore out of the way. Only 1,000 others to do. Plus cleaning my desk now. uh, oh, it's BB's birthday today. Happy birthday. Uh, I might get copyright striked for this, but a little Ukrainian birthday song for you. So, again, those of you that were wondering what I've been planting, it is Siberian pea shrub. This is what they look like. See the beans starting to dry out in this picture here. When they're green like this, you can eat them like green beans. Let's see if we can get the seeds. Yeah, that's the perfect picture right there. That's the size of the seeds, like 1/4 of an inch. They're not very big. So you would need a ton of seeds to make even a small meal. But they're a pollinator for the bees, nectar, honey source, pollen source. They fix nitrogen for the rest of the garden. They are a sacrifice for rabbits. They will feed my chickens. And they're a windbreak. Oh, that's what I've been planting. They need to be cold stratified. So basically, I'm going to be putting these on trays and putting them out basically outside. Extreme cold watch for me for the next couple days. So yeah, no going outside. Extreme cold watch from Thursday through Friday. Wind advisory tomorrow. Let's see what. High of 1 degree Celsius today. -8. -1 right now in Celsius. -22. -27. -13. And, you know, it wasn't that long ago. 14, 13, 15. We were quite warm, like not that long ago. For all the Americans out there that use freedom units, no, Pablo never contacted me to meet up, so it's unfortunate. You know, high 50s, low 60s, like the first half of the month. You know, and then now here we are. Yeah, winter's shown up finally. That's all I got for tonight. I'm about ready to pass out already, it seems, but I got one more thing I wanted to show you. And this wasn't on the plan, but it came in today. Because my old one broke. And I couldn't find a new lid. Some of you are gonna laugh. It's just that, really? But some of you will know what this is. Some free advertising for Homebrew Ohio. It's a brewing bucket. So what happened is my other bucket, the lid cracked right down the middle, so it wouldn't work for brewing anymore. And it was $12 for the lid with a grommet in it, or $23 for the whole set. So I upgraded. Well, yeah, some people use it for beer. Sorry, got to do that. Usually I make mead or which is honey wine, or I make ciders. I'm not a huge fan of beer. I just don't like the taste of hops. So, and it even has a little spigot. Oh, how nice of them. Okay, before I put the spigot in, I'm going to have to clean the inside of that. Because they didn't even bother to clean out the plastic shreddings from drilling the hole in it for the spigot. Oh, another project to add to my list of project lists. But yeah, just left that inside along with all these little shavings of plastic. So I'm going to have to clean that up before I put that together. But that might be my next stream, is getting a batch of pear cider ready. Okay, let's see if I can shake some of this dirt off of here. My trash can's over there, so. But I mean, like I said, this thing's been beat up a little bit. It needs to, I need a new one anyway. And that's an idea. I needed to ask Dorina if she'd do a design for me. That would be really cool. Huh. I know she's asleep right now, but hey Dorina, could you do a design for a support Ukraine mouse pad? Oh, come on. My shift key wasn't working. So instead of question mark, it was just typing the slash. That'd be pretty cool if she could get those, put them up on her Etsy. Good night, Leon. Steve, have a good one. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it because I'm fading fast. I'm not gonna be awake much longer. Yeah, literally the minute I'm not doing anything, and that's been how it's been for a month and a half now. Go do stuff, come inside, sit down. Next thing I know, it's 3 hours later. I've made enough new projects for me now. But thankfully, they're indoor projects and not outside projects. In the meantime, have a good night. Stay safe, everybody. Keep supporting Ukraine. And keep your head down with all the crap that's going on everywhere else. Love you guys. Hopefully I can get back into the swing of things and not fall asleep while I'm setting up streams. I have to go back to the scene to run the outro. Yeah, I need to work on the outro too. Good night, everybody.